Welcome to Hoops Pill, the channel that gives you the real story behind the game. No filter, no fluff, just pure basketball truth. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because you are exactly where you need to be. Cooper Flagg is the real deal, and I need everybody to understand that from the jump before we even get into the numbers, the comparisons, or the history being made right in front of our eyes this season. He's a legitimate 6'8" wing with a deep jumper, a handle that lets him create anywhere on the floor, a passing ability that makes defenses genuinely uncomfortable, and the kind of poise you almost never see from a teenager playing in the best league in the world. He plays both ends with equal effort, competes for every possession, goes to the free throw line consistently, and makes the right read in pressure moments when most rookies would completely fall apart. What you are watching right now is not a prospect, not a project, not a maybe. What you are watching is a superstar in the middle of his arrival, and the people who slept on him early are already scrambling to rewrite what they said. His name alone sounds like it belongs on a championship banner, and every single night he goes out and plays like he already knows it. He dominated the 15 under circuit, then dominated 16 under, then ran through 17 under, then controlled 18 under, then walked into college and kept right on doing the same thing to everybody who thought this level would finally slow him down. To see a teenager play this well, this consistently, against this level of competition is genuinely incredible, and it is not something you can explain away with good coaching or a favorable schedule. The production has followed him everywhere he has gone, and the pattern is so obvious at this point that you have to be actively ignoring it to keep pretending the hype around him was ever overstated. He averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists at Duke, and people still tried to find reasons to question whether he was ready, which tells you more about people than it tells you about him. Every single stage of his basketball life, he has been too young, too raw, too unproven according to the critics, and every single time he has walked into that stage and run it. Cooper Flagg just became the first rookie since Michael Jordan in over 4 decades to record 30 or more points and 5 or more rebounds in 4 straight games, and you need to sit with that for a second before you move on. That is not a stat somebody manufactured to get clicks. That is elite historical company, and the fact that we are saying his name next to Jordan after less than 1 full NBA season is something that should completely reframe how you were thinking about this kid. The list of rookies who have averaged at least 20 points and 6 rebounds right away since 1980 is 3 names long: Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Luka Doncic, and Cooper Flagg is currently tracking toward becoming the 4th name on that list. LeBron James is not on that list, Kevin Durant is not on that list, and almost nobody else in the history of this league is on that list, which means what Cooper is doing statistically is genuinely rare and not something that happens by accident. When the film shows him going at LeBron, getting a foul, finishing the and one, and doing it in both the regular season and the playoffs, that is the clearest possible proof that the moment is not too big for him. After his first 10 NBA games where he averaged just under 14 points, the criticism came flying from every direction, and the takes were brutal from people who had clearly already made up their minds before watching a single full game. They called him overrated, said the #1 pick was a mistake, questioned whether the NBA pace was simply too fast for him, and talked about him like a busted prospect rather than a teenager still in the middle of adjusting to the best competition on earth. People were out here acting like 10 games into a rookie season was enough data to declare a bust, which is the kind of analysis that completely ignores every single thing this person has done at every single level before reaching the league. The critics looked at a small sample size and ignored a career full of evidence, and that is exactly the kind of short-sighted thinking that has always surrounded Cooper Flagg, no matter what stage he walks into. Then everything flipped. The numbers climbed, the confidence exploded, and the people who were loudest with the negative takes went very quiet very quickly. Since the year 2000, only 5 rookies in the entire NBA have scored 45 or more points in a single game, and Cooper Flagg, born in 2006, just put his name on that list with 49 points against a real opponent in a real game that actually mattered. He went for 42 in another outing earlier this season, making him the youngest player to reach that number. And the craziest part is that nobody was even sure he had that kind of scoring ceiling based on the conversations happening around him. The same night he dropped 49, he missed the game-tying shot at the buzzer, and people tried to use that as a negative, completely ignoring that a 19-year-old had just put up a 49-point performance against NBA-level defense in a high-pressure environment. He is already in a group alongside only 9 rookies since Jordan's era to score 45 or more in one NBA game, and he did it before his 20th birthday, which is the kind of detail that will look insane when people look back on this season years from now. The narrative that Cooper Flagg is not an elite scorer has already been buried by the actual games, and it's never coming back. Go back to the 2022 FIBA Under-17 World Cup, where a 15-year-old Cooper Flagg competed 2 full age groups above his level and didn't just survive, he dominated defensively against older competition in a way that scouts sit up and start paying serious attention. He finished 3rd in rebounds across the entire tournament, 4th in steals, and 2nd in blocks, which are the kind of numbers that show a player who is not just talented, but fundamentally understands how to impact winning on both ends of the floor. Then came the championship game, where he led Team USA to a 12-point win over Spain and stuffed the stat sheet so completely that the performance barely looked believable for a 15-year-old playing against kids who were years older. The detail that almost nobody talks about is that he wasn't even originally supposed to be on that roster, which means even his presence at that tournament was already a form of proving doubters wrong before the first whistle even blew. That tournament was the first time the whole world got a clear look at what was coming, and the people who paid attention in 2022 are the ones who were not surprised at all when the NBA games started. After reclassifying up a full year in high school and still dominating players older than him without breaking a sweat, Cooper became the National Player of the Year and then received an invitation to Team USA's Select Team, which is essentially unheard of for someone not already in the NBA. That roster was stacked with legitimate professional talent, including players with NBA experience and serious futures ahead of them. And somehow, when the vote came around for best player on the entire team, the name that came back was Cooper Flagg. He doesn't wait for a stage to be handed to him. He walks in and takes the stage, and that pattern has been so consistent for so long that at some point you have to stop calling it a coincidence and just call it who he is as a competitor. The reclassification move alone showed something about his mentality, because most prospects that age would have stayed down a year, padded their stats, protected their draft stock, and coasted. He went the other direction on purpose. Every single decision he has made throughout his entire career has been the harder choice, the higher competition, the bigger stage, and every single time the result has been the same. His first Duke games showed just 15.9 points per game on 42% shooting and 22% from 3, and the internet immediately decided that the hype was dead and the #1 pick was a mistake, questioning whether the NBA pace was simply too fast for him, and talked about him like a busted prospect rather than a teenager still in the middle of adjusting to the best competition on earth. Then over his final 21 college games, he went for 21.1 points per game while shooting 52.5% from the field and 44.9% from deep, which is not a normal improvement curve. That's someone figuring it out at warp speed. He led Duke to the Final Four and dropped 27 points in the national semifinal and nearly sent people home with a legendary tournament moment on a potential game winner that just barely missed the mark. In the analytics numbers that actually measure winning impact, he was top 5 in player efficiency rating, top 3 in defensive rating, 2nd in win shares per 40 minutes, and 1st in box plus minus across the entire college landscape. Those numbers are not built by one great game or one viral highlight. Those are produced by showing up and competing at an elite level every single night for an entire season while adjusting in real time.